What if I told you literally everything you know about surviving in the world is completely backward? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're cracking open a radical masterpiece from 1925. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. And look, this doesn't read like some dusty old philosophy textbook. It feels way more like a fiercely wise friend leaning in across the table to tell you a massive secret about how the universe actually works. If you've ever felt like you're just constantly fighting against the current of your own life, you're going to want to pay close attention to this.
Okay, let's dive right in, because the very first lines of this book make you stop and go, wait, what did she just say? Listen to this. Most people consider life a battle, but it is not a battle, it is a game. Just let that sink in for a second. We are so incredibly conditioned to hustle, to grind, to fight for every little thing we get. And Shinn, she completely shatters that paradigm right out of the gate. She's telling us you aren't a soldier in a war, you're a player in a game.
And what we're looking at here isn't just some quaint, old-timey self-help book. Shinn was this fascinating artist, illustrator, and metaphysician living in 1920s New York. And she wrote this as a highly urgent, fiercely practical rulebook for reality construction. It's grounded, it's completely unapologetic, and it treats the spiritual laws of the universe not as vague woo-woo concepts, but as literal mechanics. Because think about it, you can't win a game if you literally don't know the rules. So let's learn the rules.
Section 1. Not a battle, a game. To play this game successfully, Shinn argues we have to actually understand the fundamental mechanics operating behind the scenes of our physical world.
So, the grand rule of the whole thing is the law of karma, or as Shinn calls it, the great game of giving and receiving. It essentially acts as a literal echo chamber, right? Whatever you send out in word or deed, it's gonna return right back to you. If you give hate, you receive hate. If you cheat, well, you're going to be cheated. But conversely, if you give love, you receive love. I know, it sounds simple, almost too simple. But she frames this as the absolute, unbreakable physics of the universe.
And the engine that actually drives this physics, it's the subconscious mind. Shinn defines the subconscious mind as the faithful servant that outpictures whatever you feel deeply or imagine clearly. And what is absolutely mind-blowing here is how a spiritual teacher back in 1925 perfectly predicted what modern neuroscience, cognitive behavioral therapy, and all of today's manifestation culture are shouting from the rooftops right now. Your subconscious mind doesn't judge, it just executes. It is the literal coding language of the game we're playing. Picture failure, it builds failure. Picture success, it builds success.
Moving to Section 2, Words Construct Your Reality. This brings us to Shinn's absolute core thesis, and you really need to hear this. This isn't just about thinking positive thoughts. No. It's the fact that your words and your imagination actively, physically construct your daily experiences. And this is where Shinn's energy really shines. Yes, she's warm, but she is fiercely strong. Her directive here is absolute. She says, I now smash and demolish every untrue record in my subconscious mind. Wow. She tells her readers to speak these words aloud with real power and conviction. You see, you aren't just gently asking the universe for a little favor, you are actively demolishing the native nothingness of fear and doubt that you programmed into your own subconscious. You literally have to clear the corrupted code to write the new software.
Section 3. The law of non-resistance. Now, once you've started clearing out that bad code, you're going to encounter what is probably the most counterintuitive superpower in the entire book.
I absolutely love this proverb she shares. The Chinese say that water is the most powerful element because it is perfectly non-resistant. It can wear away a rock. Water is so incredibly powerful precisely because it doesn't fight. It flows, it yields, and by yielding, it can sweep away absolutely everything in its path and carve right through solid stone. Shinn is teaching us that in the game of life, letting go and trusting is infinitely more powerful than forcing and struggling. True power, it actually comes from absolute non-resistance.
And she summarizes this crucial point so bluntly. Resistance is hell. And she means that literally. She writes that resistance places a person in a literal state of torment. Think about it. When you anxiously force an outcome, when you hold on to resentment, when you fiercely push against your current circumstances, you're actually acknowledging a power other than good. You're tying your own hands. You have to bless the situation, learn whatever you need to learn from it, and honestly, take your mental hands completely off the steering wheel.
Section 4. Real Stories of Manifestation. Now, Shinn doesn't just leave us hanging with all these abstract theories. She grounds all this in some incredibly vivid, almost cinematic case studies from her own life. Let's look at the rules in action. This first story, it's a severe cautionary tale. There was this woman who had a really intense personal will, and she deeply coveted a very specific house that belonged to an acquaintance. She constantly pictured herself living in it. Well, the game listened. The owner died and she got the house. But because she forced her will to take something that wasn't hers by divine right, absolute chaos ensued. Her beloved husband died shortly after, and the house itself became this massive, unmanageable burden. She essentially paid a tragic karmic debt, all because she demanded a specific worldly thing rather than the right thing.
So how in the world do we avoid that? Thankfully, Shinn gives us the exact, safe pattern to work by. Instead of forcing it, the woman should have said, "Infinite intelligence, give me the right house equally as charming as this, the house which is mine by divine right." See the difference? You never ever demand what belongs to someone else. You demand your divine equivalent. You ask the universe for what is perfectly yours, and you leave all the stressful logistics entirely up to the game.
Then we have this beautiful story of absolute radical faith. A man came up to Shinn after one of her classes. He literally handed her a single penny. And he told her, "I have exactly 7 cents in the entire world, and I'm giving you one because I have faith in the power of your spoken word." He asked her to speak the word for his prosperity and perfect self-expression. He was giving from a place of fearless faith, not a place of lack. And just look at the result. Shinn didn't see this guy again for a whole year. But when he finally came back, he was completely transformed. He had landed a great new job in a distant city, he had vibrant health, and he pulled this thick roll of yellow bills right out of his pocket. That one single penny, given without fear and backed by the spoken word, completely unlocked his channels of prosperity. The rules absolutely work when you play them boldly.
Section 5. Your next winning move. And this brings us directly to you. We know the rules now, right? The subconscious mind, the immense power of the spoken word, karma, non-resistance.
So what is your next winning move? Before I give you the exact tool to use, I just want to highlight something kind of magical about this book itself. The spiritual author Emmett Fox actually noted that Shinn's books always had this uncanny knack for finding their way into the most improbable locations all over the world. People literally stumble upon this lost rulebook exactly when they need it most. Why? Because she didn't use highly academic, stuffy, hard-to-read language. She used colloquial, friendly, everyday examples that real people could actually use. She took the mystical and made it highly actionable.
And here is exactly how you put it into action. Shinn insists that it is absolutely crucial to begin your day with the right words. Don't just wake up and immediately dread the morning. Wake up and program your subconscious. Here is her exact morning affirmation checklist. I actually highly recommend taking a quick screenshot of this right now to keep on your phone. Tomorrow morning, wake up and say, "Thy will be done this day." Today is a day of completion. I give thanks for this perfect day. Miracles shall follow miracle and wonders shall never cease. Make this a daily habit. Force your subconscious to outpicture wonders instead of worries.
We've covered a lot of ground in this explainer today, from finally realizing that life is a game of giving and receiving, to understanding the fierce power of your own words to construct your reality, to the totally counterintuitive strength of just letting go. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. You are holding the controller. The microphone to your subconscious is always on. So what word will you speak today? Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and go play the game brilliantly.